All right, welcome everybody. My name is Sean Kokoska, founder of Icon Coaching, and today I have got a very special guest. Our icon of the month is a man named Gusty Gulas. Now, Gusty, welcome to our webinar, buddy.
Man, Sean, thanks so much. I'm excited to be on today.
Well, dude, this has been a long time coming, and I'm fired up. I'm so excited that you've agreed to make this happen. Guys, Gusty, this year's production volume, over 500 units, okay? Over $100 million in total sales volume. And, you know, he had, up until recently, owned his own brokerage, yet you made a decision to actually shut that brokerage down and shift to a totally different company with a totally different way of thinking. Tell me, what did you do? Why did you do it?
Yeah, so, you know, as a team, I was running a team and a brokerage, and we grew the brokerage to be in a top 500 brokerage on Realtors within a 4-year period. We grew the brokerage called Brick Realty to a top 4 real estate brokerage in our market of over 450 brokers. And, you know, we've always looked at how can we better our agents? What is doing the right thing for our agents? And quite frankly, after, you know, looking at things for a couple of years and, you know, having a broker and even a successful brokerage, you get courted by all kinds of different companies that either want to sell you a franchise or, you know, merge with this, merge with that. And, you know, I just looked at how can I best help all my agents. So one of my goals at the beginning of the year was I wanted to create more opportunities for my agents. And I was creating a lot of opportunities for other brokerages because they were hiring all my agents, becoming brokers. So that was good. I've been creating opportunities for a while, but, you know, I wanted to provide more opportunities, and I felt like the partnership with eXp Realty made a lot of sense for not only my agents, but my family. So we made that move about 2 months ago, and it's been, I knew it was going to be a home run just based on my 2 years of research of it. And, I'm 2 months in, and it's truly a grand slam in my opinion.
Okay, so you told me that you decided to shut your brokerage down, shift over to EXP, and then you followed that with 2 very important words, and I want you to tell me about this. And you said, "Thank God."
Yeah, for real. Like it's running a brokerage is stressful. You know, I mean, like even at the end of last week, we're finalizing our transition, and unfortunately, as running a brokerage, you get sued over some of the things that your clients do, some of the things that your agents do, and sometimes it's just bad luck. And so I had to pay, like settle a deal that, you know, my E&O insurance wouldn't cover, which was crazy in itself. But I protected my agent, who was actually not with me anymore, but it's all good. But I've got one less cloud over my head, and running the brokerage. I mean, it got to the point where you felt like you were getting sued every other month. I mean, we grew the brokerage to over 130 agents. And so, when you're closing over 2,000 units, there's a lot of possibilities on, getting sued. So that was also a great reason for me to it removed so much, stress.
Right.
I just did not I want to be happy. I mean, like somebody told me a couple of weeks ago, they're like, "Man, you're happy, Gusty, again." I'm like, yes, happy. It is nice to be happy.
Well, EXP makes real estate fun again. There's no doubt about that.
For
So
sure.
beyond the fear of getting sued, let me just ask, how much time were you investing in compliance issues on a weekly basis?
Yeah, we were, you know, luckily I delegated everything. So we grew to 3 offices. In essence, we had a compliance officer that handled all of our documents and paperwork. And we had our brokers as well. So our compliance officer basically, you know, did all of our hard work for reviewing and all of the contracts and everything. And then the brokers handled all of the issues. And that's a tough job in itself. And so I quickly learned within a few months of opening the brokerage that the broker role was definitely not something that was perfect for me. It was perfect for somebody else. And, and so we did take a lot of time. And I think a lot of the time was the creating content for trainings.
Yeah. True.
And we had a weekly lunch and learn that we were producing, and you know, it's fun when there's a lot of people going, but when there's a lot of people that are not coming to your lunch and learn, then it kind of sucks the air out of the balloon, and you're just, you don't want to continue to do that kind of stuff. So creating the content was super tough for us.
Well, no doubt about that. And so many times in our lives, gang, and I want you to think back to your past. I mean, how many times have you been climbing the ladder of success just to recognize that it's not leaned against the right building, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when I first got into real estate, the dream was to start my own brokerage, to have agents working underneath me. And of course, I'm earning money off of their production. And guys, I got to tell you, that is a ton of work. And most brokerage models are not profitable. So that's
right.
If that's within your goal set, I'd encourage you to just reevaluate that, because the traditional brokerage model, guys, it's broken, no doubt about it. And in fact, I was talking to Rick Jihad at an event out in Vegas a few weeks ago, and he said, listen, Sean, I'm coaching 6 RE/MAX franchise owners, one of which is making a marginal profit. The other 5 are taking their own personal production commission dollars and supplementing the cost of running the brokerage just to keep the doors open. Where at EXP, they're sharing 50%. Now hear this, 50% of the gross revenue collected on agent cap dues, they're sharing 50% back to the agents that help them grow. So guys, if you're considering, and by the way, Gusty, I don't know about you yet, it seems like every single day I'm hearing about another medium-sized brokerage, 100 to 500 agents that are shifting everything and everybody over to EXP. So if you find yourself in that position, or if you're listening to this and you think your broker should investigate this, just go ahead and text EXP1 with no spaces, just 4 digits, right? EXP1, the number 1, to 888-111. You're going to get a short video and a scheduling link to get on my schedule and have a discussion about what that might look like. Because, from Gusty's perspective, by the way, owning your brokerage, a successful brokerage at that, I mean, 450 agents, right? A very successful.
Over 130 agents.
Oh, I heard that wrong. Forgive me. 130 agents, very successful brokerage by any standard, yet made the decision to shift over. Now, I want you to think about your financial destiny as a brokerage owner versus your financial destiny associated with EXP, and talk about that just for a moment. And don't worry, guys, we're going to get into how Gusty's closing over 500 transactions, yet I see this as one of the most important discussions that any realtor could be having today. So, Gusty, take it over.
Yeah, one of the things, like, there's a keyword in brokerage, it's broke. And so, I also had a funny saying, or I don't know if it's really funny, but, my team was profitable. My team has always been profitable. And so, what I made from the team kind of funded my brokerage habit. And that's really what it came down to is, and like you said earlier, the agent's production, that is the broker, is funding everything else. And it's not a fun role. And what if you have a bad couple of months? And it's kind of a house of cards. So, it's really tough to be a broker and to continuously try to grow and recruit. And if you don't provide the opportunities, like we were kind of tapped out on opportunities. Well, where I'm at now, there's endless opportunities, because now I can help people, in essence, grow their own brokerage. It's just kind of in a different way.
That's true. And all over North America and the UK and Australia, I mean, the possibilities are endless. So talk to me about what you foresee as a financial future for Gusty Gulas since you've made this decision.
Yeah. For me, I looked at my brokerage as like a 401k. And so I was thinking, oh man, my future is going to be super bright. I'm growing this company, blah, blah, blah. And quite frankly, as a broker owner, tomorrow, everybody could leave and be an independent contractors. And so, you're not really growing an asset. So, that was one of the big things for me. So now, I'm financially aligning with people, and I'm helping them, with trainings. I'm helping them help other people by growing their business. I'm helping brokers. I've got a brokerage coming on next week that, they want to remove the liability, and they see a greater advantage, financially for their future. So, to me, I've got a goal to be at 100 folks by the end of the year and 1,000 by the end of next year. And so it's going to mean a world of difference for me. So you know,
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Well, no doubt.
It's going to be financial freedom. How about that?
Financial freedom and generational wealth, meaning it'll impact your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, and probably even your great-great-great-grandkids, because the opportunity is massive. In fact, 1,000 agents by the end of next year, right? Mm-hmm. By December 31st, 2020.
That is the goal.
Okay, now I've done all the studies, I've done all the research, you guys, and ultimately the cheat as it relates to the mathematical equation, for every agent that you have associated with your RevShare team and all 7 levels of EXP, it works out to be around $1,000 per agent. So Gusty, when you hit 1,000 by the end of next year, that means over $1 million per year in revenue, just in wake-up money, residual income. Guys, 2 ways to look at income, right? Transactional income. Yes, we make money selling houses, and you can make a ton of it. Ask Gusty. Ask me. Yeah. I mean, we made millions of dollars selling real estate. Yet if you want true financial wealth, the key is to align with the model or create one where you can receive compensation based on the production of others in residual income. Now it shows up the 22nd of every month, doesn't it?
That's right. That's right. You know, I mean, the biggest thing is like, think about it like this. What are we taught as real estate agents to, use for their retirement? Well, we're looking at investing in houses. So you're getting your rental payments and you're growing an asset. Well, all that you're, from an EXP standpoint, you're attracting agents, and people are having the conversations with me saying, hey, tell me more. And so, I'm building my organization. And so, it's like every time somebody joins, that's like I'm building a new asset, a new house in my rental portfolio. And that's kind of the way I look at it.
Right. Well, and that's a long tail approach, and there's no real guarantees in that investing in real estate. I mean, you can't predict a downturn in the market. You can't predict whether or not your property is going to cash flow all the time. And you got to think about the capital requirements. I mean, even if you own 10 properties free and clear, collecting an average of $2,000 per month, making 20 grand a month, guys, you can do that with RevShare inside of 6 months. I mean, seriously, the opportunity is like none other. Now, I'm 48 years old, Gusty. I see this as the last biggest wave in the real estate industry that I'm personally going to ride. And this is the biggest wave, frankly, I've ever seen. How about you?
Totally agree. We had, there's been word come back to me that people have said that at least in our market in Birmingham, that is the biggest disruption that they have seen in real estate.
No doubt about it. So I think it was worth the investment of time. Let's go ahead and shift gears. By the way, if you guys are curious about EXP, seriously, just text EXP1 to 888-111. We'll get you taken care of. Now, let's talk a little bit about real estate production. Okay, Gusty? Now, if you had a brand new agent, somebody who was lacking momentum or traction and really didn't know what to do, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, I think it really just boils down to database. You've got to stay focused and build your database. And a lot of people that even when people came over to the brokerage, or a lot of people that I network with, people will just not take the time to really build a good database. And it doesn't matter what CRM you use or anything like that, because everything's built on an Excel file. So just take an Excel file and literally put everybody in your phone, and that's your database, your phone right here, database. And that's got to be the focus. And then once you do that, then you've got to create different sphere marketing strategies to let them know that you're in real estate and things like that. But database is key. It is your sales Bible. And if you don't do a database, you're probably just not going to survive in the business.
No doubt. In addition to that, it's the one thing that makes you unique, you special. So what are some ways that you're able to build a database aggressively to essentially list build, in your opinion?
Yeah. So I've created a 30-day database checklist. And so each day, I focus on, all right, today I'm going to focus on the A's. And so the A's to me is the first letter of the last name. Second day is going to be the B's, third day the C's, and so on. And so, I'm building the database, and I want to know name, email, address, kids' names, if they have pets' names. If you sold them a house, put their house anniversary on there. So in essence, you're creating data. And so the aggressive way to put that together is say, all right, I'm going to spend 30 days. I'm going to knock this out, and here's the plan, and just knock it out. I think you got to be consistent. You can't let things get in your way. And so that would be my recommendation.
Fantastic. I love it. So many, many different ways to build your database, guys. It starts first with data collection. Then it's a matter of positioning yourself in the mind of those prospects to do that intentionally, to build a system, which, by the way, Gusty, a system to me is a standardized process that produces a consistent and predictable result. So I love the idea of just attaching first letter of last name and say, okay, you know, today I'm going to focus on A's. Tomorrow is going to be B's and then C's. And there's 26 letters in the alphabet. Guys, you can get through that in a month, which means you would have touched your database somehow, some way, 12 times per year, which is pretty aggressive and very exciting, right? Because this always has been, guys, it is today, and it always will be a relationship-driven business. No doubt about that, okay? So, Gusty, real quick, let's say, in fact, let's just kind of rewind the tape, because today over 500 transactions per year, right? You didn't just start there, right?
Right. Yeah.
Let's go back to the beginning. Tell me, what are some of the first things that you did that you found traction with and started this upward trajectory toward 500 units a year?
Yeah, no, great question. So I've always been very noticed on social media. So in 2010, I was for the majority of the year, I was the #1 agent at the largest brokerage in our market, and actually ended the year #2. I lost by 1 house.
Ouch.
And so that just kind of gave me more drive for the next year. But I mean, I remember, I think I sold in 2009 during the recession. I think I sold like 12 houses, and then the next year I sold 53. And so I remember my wife saying like, "Hey, why don't you go be a banker?" And I was just thinking like, I can't think of anything worse. And so, you know, really came up with really a plan, and it had to deal with networking. It had to do with really taking care of my sphere and marketing to my sphere, and putting myself in the right positions and situations. But we were very vocal on social. It was very early to Zillow and Trulia back in the day. If I wasn't the first person advertising in our market, I was the second. And you know, I wasn't afraid to ask for the business. And you know, that we're in a you know, we're not salaried, so it's all about you know, the business that you close is how you make your money. So, you know, I was newly married, and I needed to put food on the table, so I was not afraid to ask for the business. And luckily, my previous life, I was in the mortgage business, and we worked a lot of leads, and so I had to call either 150 people a day, or I had to get 5 applications a day. Well, I was usually the first person in, and I usually had 1 or 2 applications in before anybody ever walked in the door to the office. And I focused on good quality conversations with folks instead of calling 150 people a day. I don't want to talk to 150 people a day.
Right.
So
first off, let me just say, I'm glad you brought that up, but I don't want to slip by here real quick, because here's when I took over the buyer agent team at the Kokoska Group in Arvada and Golden, Colorado. One of the things I recognized is that it was a little bit fragmented, meaning that we had buyers agents that would show up at 7 o'clock in the morning. We had some that would show up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and some didn't even show up at all. And one thing I recognized without fail, every single time, the individuals that showed up earliest to the office, guys, were always, without exception, the highest producers on the team. So what does that tell you? Get up earlier, get into the office, get into gear, get yourself organized so that when it's appropriate to get on the phones, well, you've already got your call list established, you know who you're going to do it. You can do it with intentionality instead of just falling victim to the here and now and all of the distractions that are associated with real estate sales. No doubt about it. So back to you, Gusty. I just didn't want that point to slip by. Go ahead.
No, I'm glad you did. So, you know, so really it's just, you know, the trajectory is just being really kind of first and early and willing to try things. So I was willing to try Zillow. Well, I started generating a lot of leads, and I started working a lot of those leads. Same with Trulia. And then taking that where I developed a system and a process so that we could maximize how many deals that we did. So the next year I closed 63 myself. And then I saw a growing trend. We got in the rental business, rental placement business. So I did that for a little while and was able to find, you know, people that once they got done renting, they bought a house with us. So that was a good stair step. So we just tried different things, and I wasn't afraid of what the perception was, what people thought about that. I was early to building teams in our market. So, luckily, I'm the first person that came on my team ended up becoming a rock star, and I'm still a rock star today. So, and just growing from there, and just creating that system and a process. And now, like, at least with listings, everybody goes through the same process. Now we're creating onboarding and a process of training for all of our agents so that they go through the same process. So we're building a true business, so that I'm not out there closing 100 deals where now I'm only closing like 12 deals, and I've got everybody else on the team, doing everything that they can to close stuff and putting them in the best situations to do that.
I love it. And I'm so glad you brought up team building. Now, team building is not for everyone. Agreed?
And a process of training for all of our agents so that they go through the same process.
Oh, a little technical issue. Sorry about that. There we go.
That's the remix version.
The remix version. Yes, yes. So let's talk a little bit about team building. It's not for everyone. There's no doubt about that. You've got to have some significant leadership skills and the ability to set the appropriate expectations, then inspect what you expect to manage those expectations, especially as it has to do with your standards for the production or the activities of the agents on the team, and holding them accountable. See, that's one of the greatest challenges we have in this industry, right, Gusty? Is that we're independent contractors. Man, we want all the freedom, we want all the flexibility, and yet we struggle with ways to be accountable to the actions required. So let's talk a little bit about team development. And you said you were fortunate, and I agree, you were fortunate to get a rock star right off the bat, right? Yet, how did you identify that person, and how did you know they were the right fit for the role?
Yeah, so they were somebody at our office, and I just kind of, I've always been good at identifying talent. And so actually put her on the rental team, and within 1 month, she was the top rental agent on our rental company. And so I knew at that point I was ready to build a real estate team, and so I invited her to be on the team. So she had actually been on another real estate team before and had closed 6 deals in a year. And her first year with me, she closed 29. So what we have found is we've got a really good process of if somebody's worked either on another team or brand new. But I like folks on my team to at least have done it on their own for a little bit to understand how difficult this business is. And so a perfect person for our team is 3 to 9 months in. And so, and then they haven't learned all of their own business, traits and how to do things, because then they can go into our way. But it's identifying talent, putting them in the best position, and it's also training them. You can't just say, hey, you're going to join our team and just say, work the leads. Now granted, I've done that in the past because I didn't have a business. I had to have a system and a process, but we've made a lot of strides in that progress.
No doubt about it. Now, a lot of people, they don't want to start a team because they feel that they can't train the team. So at Icon Coaching, guys, here's my input: leverage us. Okay. I mean, we've all been there. We've done that. I've developed a new program. In fact, I just wanted to kind of roll it out here real quick. It's called the Icon Accelerator, or excuse me, the Icon Breakthrough, the Accelerated Breakthrough. It's a brand new program. However, I've spent the last 28 years developing the content associated with this. 16 weeks, guys. It's just $99 per month. And so they get essentially 4 months of coaching for under $400. So if you guys have any interest in that, just hit me up on Facebook. In fact, many of you are watching live on Facebook right now. Let me just go ahead and throw it out there. Feel free to place some comments there, ask your questions. I'll be sure to get them answered. That's for darn sure. So place them there in Facebook or in the Q&A section associated with the Zoom webinar. So great, great stuff. Now, since we're on the subject of team, tell me a little bit about your team, the structure, and so on and so forth right now.
Yeah, sure. So, we've got we currently have 15 agents. We've added 3 in the last 3 weeks. And so a lot of people ask me our structure. And so we've got our support staff is 1 listing agent, one listing coordinator. We've got 1 listing assistant. We've got 2 client coordinators that are, in essence, closing coordinators. I've got a runner, and I've got a social media person as also our events person. So I've got a full house of people, but we've got support so that we can also continue to grow. Yeah. So 15 agents, and so here's our compensation structure, because I get asked this a lot.
That was my next question.
Yeah. So, and it's really like, it didn't start out this way. It changed because I had to look at, all right, am I running a business or am I running a charity? And so now I'm in a position where I feel like I'm running better business. And so all of our folks are on 50-50, whether it's a sphere or a lead. And then once they do 12.5 million in volume in their career on the team, they go to a 62.5%. And then once they do 25 million in volume on the team in their career, then they go 75% on their sphere. Leads will never change 50-50. I don't have any difference in if it's a listing or a buyer. I know a lot of people are like, no, you're crazy. You need to be at 30% for your listings. This is what works for me. I think that's the beauty of building a team. You got to figure out what works for you.
Well, there's 1,000 different ways to be successful, and there's 1,000 different ways to structure it. Yet what Gusty's doing here, guys, and I want you to tune in, is that he's established a compensation model focused on longer term retention. Okay. And I want to make sure you heard that right. And Gusty, if I heard it wrong, please correct me. You're talking about sphere leads or self-generated leads. Okay. That you're going to increase the salary or the split. Yet if it's a team generated lead, and I thought I heard this right, it's always 50-50.
Always.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the main reason why is for the agent retention. And what we found by the time they were year 3, year 4, they were more focused on working the sphere leads anyway. So either I can give some sort of financial incentive to stay on the team, or they can, leave and do their own thing. And so it's worked out really well for us. We started that at the beginning of this year. And then also we created, and then another thing is people wanted to create more opportunities for themselves. So agents always, they want to grow. And so we created senior team leader roles. And how this works is our senior team leaders hold each one of our other agents accountable. They meet with them on a weekly basis. And in essence, I've created assistant managers to take things off my plate and delegate. So how they are compensated is they get, if they are coaching a team member that has been on our team for less than a year, they get 10% of company GCI. And so in essence, it's 5% GCI if we're at 50-50. And then if the agent that they are coaching, mentoring has been on the team for over a year, then they get 5% of the team GCI or 2.5% of GCI. And so they are compensated by helping out others. And that's we started that this year, and that's been huge for me. It's allowed more opportunities for my agents and allowed them to make more money. And it's been a huge relief off my plate too.
Well, I'll bet. There's a couple of things I want to point out here. And once again, you're building a compensation model that's going to help you accomplish your goals. Okay. And guys, tune in on this. See, there's a term in military called span of control, which means the number of people that can effectively report to you that you can personally effectively manage. Okay. Now, Gusty, I can imagine prior to the implementation of this middle level of management that your life was a little bit chaotic. Is that probably true?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, because the military will tell you that in a perfect world, it would be no more than 3, yet up to 5 key direct reports. Now you're managing 16 people plus the admin, the 4 different people on the admin. And I can only imagine you were probably putting in 60, 70, 80 hours a week sometimes, right?
And then add the brokerage on top of that.
Right. Oh, gee. Okay. So this reminds me of a story about a gal named Kelly up in Dallas. Now, I was teaching a full day workshop. Okay. And a title company put this together, and they invited all the highest producing agents within the Denver Fort Worth area. And they had a heck of a turnout. They had about 55 of the top producing agents show up. Well, here comes this lady into the room, and she walks right up to me and says, and she gives me this really firm handshake, right? And she said, Sean, my name's Kelly. I can't be here all day. Just give me the cliff notes, right? Which is just another way of saying, Sean, I'm out of here if you suck, right? But nevertheless, I got to know Kelly a little bit. It turns out she's a top producer, over 100 million in total sales volume per year. Okay, she had 16 people on her team. I learned that she won award after award. I mean, everybody knew who she was, right? And I learned that she was completely and utterly miserable, okay?
Yeah.
She had an 8-year-old son. She rarely got to go to his soccer games or soccer practices, right? She wanted to spend more time. She hadn't been on a vacation for like 3 years. Okay, so not only did she sit down and listen to the iconic organizational development teachings and learnings and the structure, she took great notes and immediately engaged Icon for coaching after that. Now, within 3 months, we got her from 16 direct reports down to 4, okay? Now, this was the end of, or the very beginning of 2017, okay? Now, the year prior, she closed out at about $142 million, okay? And over the course of that next year, though, after engaging in coaching and restructuring the organization, she had taken 3-week-long vacations, didn't babysit her phone the whole time. She was working about 45 to 50 hours per week, which is significant improvement. And she closed out over 200 million in total sales volume. Guys, this stuff, it works when you identify the right talent and you lean into that talent. Let me tell you what I mean by that. When you have the right person and you put them in the role, now hear this, the best part about their job is that it's their job. Meaning you can't take it back from them. You cannot be the knight in shining armor riding in on your white horse to save them, okay? That's the mistake a lot of people make. They've got to succeed or fail on their own merit. You've got to be willing to make the tough decisions if you truly want to build a Super Bowl team, somebody who's going to be the highest producing, highest market share team within your market area. Guys, your standards must be high. And once they're set, you've got a choice. You've got to either shrink the standard to meet the person or simply stretch the person to meet the standard. And if you want some help with that, by the way, I've got another keyword for you. You ready? Just go ahead and text discovery to 888-111. I'll get on the phone with you. We'll go through a brief consultation and a strategy session, and you can make a decision whether or not the Icon methodology is right for you. Yet I promise you, our clients are getting a significant return on their investment. Now, back to Gusty, and thanks for letting me do that quick commercial.
Yeah, no, you're good, man.
Yeah, Gusty, I'm telling you, you're doing all the right things from my perspective, okay? Yet,
Thank you.
at the same time, I just want to ask a question. What is not currently being done in your business that if it were being done at a high level would dramatically impact your results and your profit?
Oh, helping out with our sphere marketing even to the next level. We have 21 different lead sources, but our best lead source is our sphere. And so doing a better job of taking care of our sphere and getting information out to them. So that would be huge for us and retargeting all those folks.
Gotcha. Gusty, out of curiosity, how has coaching, how has the training impacted your trajectory personally?
Yeah, so I've had multiple coaches, currently have multiple coaches. And, here's the way I look at it. If you can blaze a trail yourself, or you can work with somebody that's already has the path and shows you the directions. And I was a trailblazer for a while. And I finally got smart and decided to, hey, if I want to close 1,000 deals, I need to probably talk to somebody that has closed 1,000 deals. And so coaching has been huge for me. I like the accountability piece. I feel that I'm pretty coachable. I've just got big goals, and so I need people to help me out and make sure that I'm on pace and doing the right things.
Fantastic. I love it. Well, one of the things we're doing here at Icon Gang, and we've spent the last 3 years building up to this, and we're going to be making some significant announcements in the coming months. And that is, we've now got 36 Icons of the Month behind us. Gusty, you're our 36. Congratulations. And we'll be rolling out a program called Coached by an Icon. So just look forward to that. Gusty, you and I are going to talk about what that might look like, and just an opportunity for us to all give back to the real estate community at large. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I promise you that. So Gusty, you'd mentioned social media, that you're really active with social media. And I can only imagine that you're not just posting pictures of houses, right? What are you doing on social to get that traction, to position yourself, position your team for success?
Yeah. It's so my focus is we have a team page But it's really all about my personal page. And, you know, I'm really an open book, and it's just the easiest way to be. And so my social media, if you go to my personal page, you're going to see pictures of my kids, pictures of my family. You're going to see videos about real estate. You're going to see some houses, but it's not really about the house. You're going to see, I go to a lot of concerts, like I'm going to a concert tonight and doing a little meet and greet. And so, you know, it's just my personality. And so, like every Sunday, I do a little training video live on recommendations for trainings of the week. So, you know, video's big, but just being yourself and being, you know, just being yourself is the big key.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt about that. And guys, I think our friends on our social channels, they are frankly just annoyed, and I mean irritated, by us clogging up their news feeds with pictures of houses. Stop doing that, okay?
Yeah.
Seriously, be authentically you on social media. Yeah, you can work in some of your work life stuff, yet anytime you can remember the social aspect of social media marketing, you're in great shape. In fact, I think the litmus test or the filter you can run your decision to put this post through or not is ask yourself, is this post going to create or nurture relationships? Because that's what it's all about to me. And when you're focused on creating and nurturing relationships, well, then you can't go wrong. Now, Gusty, I'm going to shift gears on you. You ready?
All right.
All right. You had mentioned Zillow, Trulia. Talk to me about what does the ad spend budget look like, and what should a realtor, in your opinion, be doing with that? Because it can become really dangerous if somebody doesn't lead with revenue, right?
Yeah. You know, I know of people that don't spend any money are very successful.
Absolutely.
So I don't think you have to spend money. I think everything is different. So for example, on Zillow, we spend a lot of money on Zillow, but I wouldn't do it if I didn't have all the reviews. So we've got, I don't know, probably 540, 550 reviews on Zillow. We're top in our market. And so, you know, think about this. If you're an agent that has 10 reviews on Zillow and you're going to spend a lot of money and I'm going to come up against you, why in the world would you spend a lot of money to go up against a profile that has 540 reviews than your 10 review profile? It doesn't make any sense. That's the power of me being involved in it for 10 years. So look for things that are either your hobbies or things that project your personality, and focus on those things. And, you know, if you're, you know, specific to a certain area, then maybe you can create some sort of, you know, ad spend that makes sense for that. But, you know, use it, you know, look at everything. And because you've got top teams that are spending thousands and tens of thousands of dollars on a monthly basis that are going to crush a lot of people. And so as a single agent, especially, you got to be very careful at your ad spend, and you got to budget correctly. And also you've got to give everything 6 months at least to try it out. So you can't just be like, hey, I'm going to do one ad in like the newspaper or one digital ad and expect that you're going to get this huge return. It's not going to happen. Right. I mean, I've done radio for 3 years, and I think it was like 6 months before I got a phone call. Well, that 6 months cost me a ton of money for the investment piece, but now it's a great generator for us.
No doubt. And by the way, the advice I would give to somebody, if you're considering investing in a new marketing strategy or tactic, just make certain that you've got the ability to sustain that marketing strategy for at least 6 months. Because, Gusty, that's probably the thousandth time I've heard that, is that if you don't have the tenacity and the budget to stick it out for 6 months, then chances are you're not going to get a significant return on that investment. Okay. So a couple other things real quick. You had mentioned events earlier. Talk to me about some of the client-facing events that you guys are doing right now to just consistently maintain that position as the realtor of choice within the mind of your clients and your prospects.
Yeah, sure. So we've had 2 client events already this year. We got another one coming up. Earlier in the year, we rented out a farm, and we invited all of the parents and kids to come out that were clients, and we had a little petting zoo. And so you could feed the pets and take pictures with your pets. And so we had a great turnout for that. And then the next one, I'm in Birmingham, Alabama. So football is king here.
Oh yeah.
So I did a tailgate kickoff at my house. So I opened up the doors of my house, and we had a bouncy room. We had face paint. We had a lot of kids games. We had football on the TVs. And so just had a good old time that way. And then our third event that's coming up is Pictures with Santa. So I've got a 3-year-old and I've got an 8-month-old. So one of the things that we had a hard time, especially with our first, was trying to get a good picture with Santa. And standing in line took forever. And by the time we stood in line, it was usually not a good picture. And so I wanted a good picture with Santa. And sometimes you got to go to multiple Santas to get a good picture. So we've got a great event, Pictures at Santa, and then we have little food and different activities. And so that's been really the favorite of the client events that we've done.
Right on. Let me, I want to take a moment. I want to unpack an idea that could be a game changer for everybody on this webinar real quick. And that is and by the way, we did a ton of events just like that were not anywhere closely associated to real estate. They were just relationship builders. And I think that's very important, no doubt about that. Yet the question I would ask you all is, what if you could do an event that's going to build relationships and to be associated with what you do? So I had that thought and said, okay, what is a line extension to our event process now that would allow us to actually get business and actually close volume with a significant return on investment? So I came up with the idea of a real estate investor seminar. Now, many of you are doing first-time home buyer seminars, and I say more power to you. Yet recognize you reap what you sow, right? I mean, if you do a first-time home buyer seminar, well, of course, you're going to get a whole bunch of first-time home buyers to work with, which is fantastic. Yet, I don't know where your market starts. If it starts at 200 grand, I'm here to tell you that a $200,000 buyer is going to take as much time, if not more, than a $500,000 buyer, right? So bottom line is, I didn't want to do the first-time home buyer seminar, and trust me, we did plenty of those. Yet, what if we did a real estate investor seminar that wasn't one of these stupid get-rich-quick kind of schemes? Other people's money, no money down, none of that stuff. Just the true nuts and bolts, educationally based event that would teach people how to invest their money, whether it be their 401k, the dormant equity in their home, into real estate. Then I thought, well, I could certainly do that, and yet I would have to be the creator, the purveyor of all content, and all the weight would 100% be on my shoulders, not only for the curriculum of the program, yet also for the promotion. So I had another thought, and in marketing, it's kind of a gross term, but they call it host-parasite relationship, meaning your vendors, your allied resource partners, they're the host, and you get to become the parasite that gets indirect access to their database. So listen to what I did, Gusty. I identified 7 key industries that were associated with real estate, yet they didn't do real estate sales. So I got a 1031 tax deferred exchange specialist. I got a real estate attorney, a CPA, a property management company. We didn't do that. I got a mortgage loan originator. I got PNC insurance agent, and then finally a financial planner. And I pulled these guys together, guys and gals, and we sat down in a conference room and I cast the vision. And that is, over the course of the next 90 days, I want you to make this real estate investor seminar your marketing engine. I provided them with a ghost-written social media campaign, email campaign, scripts, dialogues, objection handlers that they could call into their database, inviting their friends, their clients to attend this real estate investor seminar. And then I charged each one of them to take the stage for just 10 minutes and add significant value based on their industry to that audience. Okay, so the 1031 exchange specialist taught them how to just really sidestep the IRS as it relates to capital gains. How can you leverage more money to buy more real estate by doing a 1031 tax deferred exchange? The real estate attorney talked about how to set up an S Corp or an LLC to reduce your liability. The CPA, of course, talked about how to depreciate the asset. The MLO, by the way, they talked about how to put their dormant equity to work for them, how to cash out, refinance, invest that money into real estate and create what we call wake up money. You know, there is so many different topics, yet they each had the stage for 10 minutes. I acted as MC, and then as soon as we were done, they filled out an evaluation which asked all the qualifying questions, gave us a really solid leads list, and then we had a little mini breakout, meaning the attorney's going to be in this corner, the CPA is going to be back there. By the way, the financial planner who talked to you about how to convert your 401k to a self-directed IRA to invest your money in real estate, they're going to be over there, right? And this was a wildly successful event. Now, Gusty, hear this. within 30 days, I'd placed 8 properties under contract with an average sales price of $832,000 when our median sales price in Denver, Colorado at the time was just over $170,000.
Wow,
So,
that's
guys,
crazy.
as it relates to events, you have a massive opportunity. In fact, a few of those transactions, what I chose to do was leave my commissions in, and it was securitized by a promissory note and deed of trust. And I got an agreement where I got a certain amount of equity when they sold. So it's a great way to invest in real estate as well if you don't have the money. So if you're looking at your database, maybe you've only got a couple of hundred people in there, just recognize all 7 of those partners, they probably have at least 1,000 people in their respective database. You could invite over 7,000 people to attend a real estate investor educationally based event. I was the last one to speak, Gusty, and I just shared a couple of properties, a couple of investments that were available right then, and talked them through a simple APOD, which is annual property operating data. It's just how to determine whether or not it's a good investment or not. A lot of free resources online about that, by the way. So I always want you to walk away with, something that you could implement immediately in your business and make a significant return on your investment of time with all of us. So Gusty, tell me, what's your favorite part about selling real estate? Seriously.
My favorite part has got to be, really building the relationships with folks. I've got some of my dear friends that I've met through showing and selling houses. And, when you're out there, and even agents, building the relationships. And so, it's kind of funny, like all your real estate folks just kind of know each other, and you've built friendships because you're always working and you're always, at different functions. But that's been my favorite part. It's like, it's a true community. And, now we have, our kids are playing with other friends' kids that I help buy and sell houses. So it's been pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So real quick, give me 1 to 3 mistakes that you see realtors making all the time.
1 to 3 mistakes, not coming into the office to get to work. Whether what office it can be a co-working space, it can be a Starbucks or coffee shop. I mean, just get up and go and do it. So that's number 1, is having going somewhere and working. Number 2 for me is no plan. I see a lot of people that just they say that they're working, but really they're 4 hours on Facebook and not really doing anything. So having a plan. So every Sunday I write everything I need to do for the week, and quite frankly, I'd love to say that I knock out everything, but I don't. But I try to knock out the majority of my list, and so planning is big for me. And then number 3 is consistency. Many times I see a lot of agents ride roller coasters. It's because they get busy and then they forget to prospect. And if you're not prospecting consistently, then you're going to ride the roller coaster, and it's not a fun roller coaster to ride. So I used to tell people I would sell 4 houses a month in my sleep. And it was just, I was very confident in knowing that I had a consistent process and I could close that many houses every month. And that was kind of the game plan.
Very good. Very good. Well, one of my favorite subjects, Gusty, is habits, because as you look at habits relates to business development and the trajectory of certain individuals that are just crushing it in real estate. Really what they've done is they figured out how to give an inordinate amount of time to the top 20% work associated with the industry. And I'm referencing Pareto's principle here, the 80-20 rule. 20% of your actions, gang, are going to yield at least 80% of your results. Now, the trick here is to give it an inordinate amount of time to just 5 things, right? I mean, it's practice your skill, it's lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointments, and then, of course, negotiating contracts. Now, you do the first 3 right, practice, lead gen, lead follow-up. The last 2 are the natural byproduct doing that consistently, as Gusty said. That's more appointments, more contracts to negotiate. In fact, there's just 3 things you can control in this industry. The first is knowing what to say. Second, knowing how to say it. And then finally, saying it to enough people. I mean, simple truth is, if you want more appointments, guess what? You get to talk to more people. By the way, if you want more contracts, well, you need to have more appointments, which means what, Gusty?
Hey, you got to talk to more people. You got to follow up. You got to stay consistent.
Yeah, and if you want more money, well, guess what? You have to have more contracts, which means you need more appointments, which, Gusty, means what?
You got to call more people.
No doubt. So FM Alexander,
show more houses.
That's right. So FM Alexander said this. He said, people do not decide their future. They decide their habits. And their habits decide their future. Yet sadly, so many realtors especially, they form habit without intention. So Gusty, what are some of the habits you think are required for a realtor to achieve that 500 plus transactions per year?
Yeah, it's for us, it's before you even get to the office, I create a habit for myself as I wake up early, 5:15 every morning, and so I need 30-45 minutes of coffee and me time before kids are up, and get my day going. So mentally, I'm preparing myself to have a great day right then. And then I work out every morning before I get to the office. So like this morning, I had a quick 1 mile run. I'd like to do more some other days, but it depends on the time. So I think just getting in the mindset of, get your mind clear, get in a right mindset, then that can take you to your day. So, just having the priorities of your plan. And so prospecting is big. I have follow-up tasks in all of my CRM, so I'm hitting my task. So one of my tasks is to knock out my task.
I love it.
So it's just being consistent in that. And I think a lot of people, again, they just don't have a plan. Yeah. And so, if I don't know, I think one of the sayings is if you don't, if you don't have a plan, then your goal is like nothing, or you don't have a goal. So right. You got to be very careful. So my vision, my plan. So that's what I'm trying to achieve every day, and that's my little micro commitments hits my major commitment and my major goals and my vision. So just staying consistent.
Yeah, so many people, we want to work to-do lists, right? I mean, frankly, Gusty, if you and I took the time and wrote down everything on a to-do list that we could accomplish, I mean, that list would be pages and pages and pages long, right? So yeah. I think the key here is to not work a to-do list, guys. Now hear me on this, because it's a totally different way of thinking. And let me just share with you the problem in working a to-do list is that we receive a release of endorphins when we cross something off the list, right? Makes us feel good, makes us feel like we're accomplishing something. So ultimately what we do just instinctively is we tackle the easiest thing on that darn list first. And rarely is the easiest thing the one thing that's going to move the needle for you and your production. Now, guys, it's not that we have too many things to do. It's just that we choose to do too many darn things, right? So rather than working a to-do list, and by the way, thank you, Gary Keller, for this input. Rather than working a to-do list, work a success list. Meaning 20% of the tasks on your to-do list will yield at least 80% of your results. To-do lists tend to be long, success lists are short. Now it's good to go ahead and document everything in the format of a to-do list, yet I'd encourage you to boil it down to the 20% work first, get that done, and then go back to the list and start tackling some of those other things that aren't necessarily gonna move the needle for you. Maybe it needs to be done, that's okay, get it done, yet don't do it first. Do the thing that's gonna move the needle for you first. Take care of your own priority first. And guys, I'll promise you, your priority is not in Facebook or Instagram or in your email inbox, okay? Your priority is getting on the phone, having conversations with people, or face-to-face, and making it happen. So good stuff. Now there's a couple of questions that came through. First off, yep. Let's see, Lucas Berger asked, why do we give Zillow access to MLS? What's going on there?
Oh man, Lucas, it's, I'll tell you, our MLS really fought against that. And quite frankly, Zillow did a great campaign to all of our brokers and a lot of our agents. And in essence, the brokers made the request that they wanted the data sent to Zillow. So, the brokers are our clients, and that's why that we did it. And Lucas is in our market and graduated with Lucas. Hey, Lucas. And that's what happened on our end.
Gotcha. And yet realtors are buying back the leads that are rightfully theirs. Now we could get into a debate over this for the next 4 hours as to the whys and the wherefores and how we could change it. Yet the bottom line is, guys, until we stop buying the leads from Zillow, they're going to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah. And for me, it's a return on investment. if I'm getting a return, I'm going to work with the marketing company or the advertising company that works for me.
Gotcha.
So there's multiple ways to look at it.
That always, no doubt about it. Yet we're always looking for the path of least resistance. There's no doubt about that. So tell me, you said your sphere of influence is the #1 business maker for you guys. So that SOI, which is another acronym, by the way, for source of income, for those of you that are doing your business right? That's your source of income. Yet what's #2 on your list, Gusty?
It is Zillow.
Okay. Fair enough, buddy. Hey, it's all good.
Yep.
It's all good. So it's Zillow. Very good. And yet tell me, why do you think some agents are not getting a significant return on their investment of ad spend?
Well, we've got a system and a process. So, our team, as soon as the lead comes in, if it's in the middle of the night, I've got our artificial intelligence texting those folks to warm them up, so that any lead is still, touched even in the middle of the night. And then, as soon as something comes in, we're calling them within minutes, or they're being transferred to us. And, it's not about, I don't think that you can just say if a lead comes in and, our goal is to go show and sell and build rapport. And, I'm not worried about, are they pre-qualified or pre-approved? Because quite frankly, I think that there's different mortgage companies that can better assist certain people. So I can make a recommendation, hey, here, check out these 3 folks. But I can't really make that recommendation until I know more about them. And I can really, if they just call me and say, hey, I want to see a house, well, that's great and all, but I want to build that rapport with those folks. I want them to trust me. And that's why we do a great job of converting those leads, because we're going out there, we're building rapport, and then we're saying, hey, we're the #1 team in our market, and here's our process. We got a closing coordinator, we got a listing coordinator, we blah, blah, blah. And so, we're selling them and on here's our system and process. And that's how we convert well.
Very, very good. So first I heard speed to lead. Now guys, California Association of Realtors did a case study that suggests that the real estate prospects in the market today expect 49% of them expect an instant response. Yet only 8% of you are delivering an instant response, which by the way, I don't think in most cases it's because you have the systems and models in place to deliver that every single time. Meaning it was by happenstance, right? You just happened to answer your phone that time when it rang, or you happened to be in front of your computer when the lead came in and you had the mindset and the energy just to reach out to them right away. Yet only 8% of realtors are actually delivering that. Now, the other 49%, they're disappointed and they're probably onto the next realtor, the next property on Zillow or wherever they're searching, right? So the bottom line is, I'd encourage you to focus in on providing AI, as Gusty's doing right now. By the way, who are you leveraging that through right now? Structurally, fantastic. And it's just structurally.com. I have not vetted that tech company yet.
Yeah, I believe it's structurally.com.
Okay, I love it. I love it. So get a system in place, provide that instant response. And by the way, Gusty, that case study was done in 2014. So do you think the consumer's expectations on response time has increased or decreased since 2014?
Oh, increased. Like if you're not touching these people within a minute, I mean, we're in this need to know society. And so guess what? There's in our market, there's 3,900, 4,000 agents. So if you're not, answer the phone, guess what? Somebody else will. And you know what? I mean, it's just, you've got to be there, and you've got to be there when they need it. And even if you're not following up, I mean, even if you're following up well, you still could let things slip through the cracks.
No doubt about it. I think another mistake that realtors make as it relates to lead conversion is they actually call the prospect back about the one property they originally reached out to them about. Now, guys, I've studied the numbers, tens of thousands of leads, and the chances of that prospect actually buying the home that they originally contact you about, it's less than 1%. So the mistake agents make is they call them back and say, hey, did you get all the information on 123 Field Street? And of course, the information's abundant these days, right? If they truly had interest, they've got it already. And their goals, by the way, seem counterintuitive. First, to eliminate the property because they want to invest their time wisely. Second, to eliminate you. So my input to you is call them back about every property. And here's what I mean. Just call them up and say, hey, it's Sean Kokoska, XYZ Realty. Thanks for taking my call. I'm just calling to update my files, see if you're still in the market to buy a home or find out if you've already purchased something. Very simple. Now you're calling them back about every property instead of the one they called you about. You'll double your chances of earning their business when you do that. Now, many people aren't answering their phones these days. Isn't that right, Gusty?
No, a lot of text.
A lot of text. So here's my input. When you have a phone number, call them. Okay, call them from your cell phone though. And when they don't answer and you get voicemail, don't leave a message. Simply hang up and double dial them right away. Okay. If they answer, by the way, then you say, oh, I'm sorry, I was going to leave you a message, yet I got cut off. I'm so glad I've got you. And then just start into the conversation. Now, if they don't answer, which they probably won't, and you get voicemail again, don't leave a message. Just hang up and send them a simple text. It's one question. Is this whatever their first name is with a question mark? That's it. Now, the first goal of any lead is to, number one, get a response. So they're going to say, yes, this is Sean. Who's this? And you send back, I'm so glad I have the correct contact information for you, exclamation point. My name is Sean Kokoska. I'm a local realtor. I'd love the opportunity to earn your business. When do you have 5 minutes to tell me what you're after? Now, guys, there's psychological evidence that if they respond once, they're going to respond twice. They put their toe in the water, they'll go ahead and put their foot in the water, okay? And they almost feel obligated now that you've had this exchange back and forth. So with that one simple strategy, you're gonna get more of your prospects on the phone and you're gonna get off of the hamster wheel of lead follow-up. Gusty, what are your last thoughts and just words of wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really just boils down to, you know, if you're building a team, think of it as business in mind. And make sure that you, you know, put in place compensation plans that make the most sense for you as the business owner. And so, you know, I know a lot of people are, you know, thinking about building teams and all that kind of stuff. So I'm happy to answer any questions anytime on what I've done, because I've made a lot of mistakes, and you know, I can't say that. You know, am I doing everything perfectly? Probably not, but I've built a really good business, and I'm very happy with it.
Good job, Gusty. So you're in Birmingham, Alabama. And how would they get hold of you, Gusty?
All right. You can call or text me on my cell, 205-218-7560. Or you can email me at gusty@gustygulasgroup.com or gustygulas.com.
I love it, man. Okay, well, Gusty, thank you for adding significant value to our audience today, man. It's nice of you to take time out of your schedule. I mean, you're not compensated for this. You do it out of that servant's heart that I know you possess, that you want to give back to people and help them grow. So I'm so excited that you've become an icon and you've joined the ranks of the Mark Spains and Chris Waters of the group. And it's just exciting to have you on board here. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the value. And guys, if you have any additional questions, reach out to me, reach out to Gusty. We are here to support you. We're here to help you. And until next time, guys, be on purpose, be productive, and as always, be powerful. Thanks for your time, everybody.